There was once a beautiful woman who was born with a hunchback. Because of this hunchback, the men in her village had always ignored her. And because she had no suitor, she was unhappy and unfriendly. At the age of 25, this beautiful woman with a hunchback was still without a husband or lover. One day, as was her practice, she went alone to the stream to fetch water. On her way home, a slightly older man stopped her and proposed marriage. She could hardly believe her ears, but she managed to conceal her joy. "Let us go and see my parents about it," was all she could say. The man accompanied her home and said to her parents, "I have seen your daughter several times. Without her knowing it, I have watched her behavior fairly closely. I do not believe she has any hunch in her heart. So, I want to marry her." Her parents readily gave the proposal their blessing, and the marriage was performed according to the law and custom of the land. Shortly after the wedding, the man took his wife to a medicine man who removed the hunch. In private, the medicine man told the husband that he should not allow his wife to carry a heavy load on her head. For if she does, he warned, her hunchback will return. The woman's parents were so overjoyed that they regarded the man not only as a son-in-law but as their second god. The man knew very well that all women like to carry heavy loads on their heads. His wife was no exception. He also thought his wife would never believe the hunch could develop again. He decided not to tell her exactly what the medicine man had said. Instead, he told her that his personal medicine man had warned him that should his wife ever put a heavy load on her head, he would die. "If you do not want me to die, my dear wife, you should never carry a heavy load on your head." "How on earth can I want you to die, you who have saved me from deformity and disgrace?" she replied, and fervently swore that she would never carry a heavy load on her. A short time later, the man suddenly became poor. He could maintain his wife only a little above subsistence level. Meat became a luxury and was only bought on special feast days. The man did not have enough money to buy his wife clothes either. The woman started complaining to her parents and to the public. "How can one who calls himself a man bring a woman of my beauty and stature to his home as a wife only to starve her and let her go about naked?" Her parents rebuked her for being so unreasonable. "Even if your husband does not feed you well, you have cause to be grateful and faithful to him until you die," they said. But some women in the village wagged their tongues. One said, "That wretch of a man should realize that a wife is not a slave that he can starve as he likes." Another, perhaps the most vicious among them, said, "Why should she continue to live with that brute, with all those shining pieces of God's gold that deck her mouth? I can't imagine such a beautiful ego that feeds on excrement." The elderly men in the town unequivocally condemned the woman's ingratitude. The rich young men in the town did not talk much of this issue. But there were a few of them who were competing for the hand of the woman. Secretly they sent her gifts and invited her to dinner. She felt highly flattered, and in turn her attitude toward her husband became increasingly more disgusting. Shortly, she decided to kill him. One day while her husband was working on the farm, she remembered the warning against carrying a heavy load. Wickedly thrilled by the idea, she rushed into a nearby bush and gathered a great deal of firewood, which she tied into a mighty bundle and placed on her head. While walking from the bush to her house, she developed a hunch much bigger than the one she was born with. At home she threw the firewood, sat down on the bare floor, and wept bitterly. Neighbors came, saw and spat, and retired to their homes. The rich young men heard what had happened to her and said there must be a devil dwelling inside her. When her husband returned from the farm and saw her, he said, "You have destroyed yourself in a bid to destroy me." That was all he said. He took her to her parents and told them he would no longer have her for a wife. His mother-in-law wept and pleaded with him, but to no avail. His father-in-law thanked the man for his love and help and told him to go home in peace. "Women are not only a curse to men, they are also a curse to themselves," he said.